In a triplet duet, Mel Bay page 9, I encourage you to play along with when I play a part. It is a 2/4 time, so that's two beats in a measure and a quarter note gets a beat. And at this point, I encourage you to stay relaxed. You see, Mr. Bay has us play everything with a down pick. This is about refining your right hand motion. That's why he has this. Number one, it should result in a consistency of sound. And a second, it's important to use and to stay relaxed so that you have the same dynamics. Like what we don't want is, we want to really watch that. We want to make everything fluid, as legato as possible. We're going to be using a downstroke, and let's do the best we can to make everything about the same volume. Now, I will say that when we're playing triplets, it's usually acceptable or sometimes even intended to have the first note of the triplet to be a little stronger. So that's okay. See, the momentum pushes it forward. So first and foremost, all downstrokes. Second, try to play everything with as similar a volume or dynamics as possible. And third, when you go back through the piece, you can try just giving the first beat of a measure just a little bit extra oomph. Please note the end of line 2, where we're going to go into G major temporarily. And then we're going to fall out of G major and right back to... Okay, so look at that end of line 2. Get ready for it. Second position. Now look at the stretch. Going to pinky, going to string 1A, the third finger going to string 1G, and the first finger going to string 1F. All right, so I'm going to play, at this point, I don't think there's anything else to explain really about the song. Play it in open position. All right, so moderato, we're going to be playing it just a little bit slower than that. How about the upper, how about 80, okay? This, again, I always say, it's not so much about speed as it is about comfort and fluidity, and your ear predicting where your hand's going to go. Not your hand telling your ear what to do. Your ear being familiar enough with your moves. 1 pull lid, 2 pull lid, 3 pull lid, 4 pull lid. That was part 1. So, dynamic instructions, you're starting at mezzo forte a little strong. Those are the only dynamic instructions. We played the entire piece through one time, then we went back to line 1 and played it as the final strain of music. So, line 1, line 2, line 3, line 1, done. Any other things in there? So if it's not sounding like the music, there are a couple reasons why. The reason is because your fingers are flying too far away from the guitar's neck. That's why it's not sounding like music. So this is all about efficiency of motion. The second thing is, please look at the melody nope, so the melody at, there was just a twist he threw us there. Well, anyway, it's just where the A note comes up. So just practice each, pair of measures, and just be sure to play the notes correctly. He did throw a little bit of a twist in there with an A note somewhere. So keeping your fingers close to neck is so essential for this. Keeping your thumb centered and flat and relaxed behind the neck is also essential. And having your guitar's neck, it's just a slight angle, always a slight angle. We don't want this. as that neck starts to dip, that's going to be problematic. So that was part one. Those are the pieces of advice I have for part one. Review the part, see if you can hear it, and continue. Now here's part two, starting on the E note. In part two, there's something special in line two, so if we could please preview it. We're going to go to line two, measure 1, 2, 3, 5. You've got an F sharp here. The F sharp in part two actually predicts what's coming the F sharp in part one. So we have. Remember, you don't have to rewrite a sharp. So see in line two, part two, measure 5. That last F of the measure is still sharp. You don't have to rewrite a sharp. Now in the next measure, you do have to rewrite the sharp. It's understood that the note has to be written for the first time in the measure as a sharp for it to take. And so here's that last 4 measures of line 2. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I should have used the open position fingers there for the last 2 measures. Let's do that again. Fingers 4, 2, 0, 0, 2, 4, 4, 0, 2, 2. And followed by fingers 3, 0, 2, 2, 3, 0, 2, 2. Natural that F. Here's part 2 in entirety, okay? Now you should learn to play part 2 along with me and then learn how to play part 1 while I play part 2. Okay, here we are at 80 beats a minute. 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, really focus on keeping your hand relaxed, your right hand, your picking hand. If it's not relaxed in a tune like this with repetitive down picks, it's gonna, it's gonna start to bark. You're gonna feel it. Hey, if you can't play it at 80 beats a minute, it's all right. Strive for at least 70 beats a minute. So remember to stay relaxed, keep your thumb flat relaxed, your guitar neck just slightly tilted up, and approach the picking from about almost a 45-degree angle. Those are the tips for this tune. The last thing I'll say here is patterns. So these tunes become easier to play when you see a pattern. So in line 2, as we go, so we went from F to D, from D to B, and now we do an up and down from G to G, and back to C. So once you identify your landmarks and you see that the notes are like one right after the other with playing, diatonically, well, then you kind of know the outline of the tune. Have fun with Triplet Duet.